just made a stop at a secondhand shop. It's the Red Cross secondhand shop, and the idea is to find something for Isabella's room. The thing is, you never know if you're gonna find something at the secondhand shop, but just the thrill that you might is enough for me to just make a stop on my way home from work at a secondhand shop. So let's go inside and see if we can find something. I hope that I can find something cute for the walls. Maybe a little hanger, maybe a picture frame or a picture, a mirror, or something else that is that little feminine, sweet little touch. So let's see if we can find something. The trunk. I have 3 big bags of textiles and things and some kids' clothes and some nice stuff. Well, not only for Isabella, I found some great stuff for me as well, and I'm going to show you when I come home. But I got a little tip. So there's another Red Cross store that I'm just outside now. So since I had such a role and success at the first place, I felt that I need to do this again. So I'm in a new area of town where I haven't been before, and I'm going to check out this new secondhand shop. So let's see if I can fill even more space of this car. So I found some really cool stuff at the secondhand shops. And first of all, I was looking for frames for Isabella's room, and I guess Isabella's room had the highest priority to look for. And I found this beautiful handcrafted frame. It's wood, and it just has a lovely, it's very tactile, the frame. So I'm gonna put that in Isabella's wall. It's gonna look good to her pink walls, and exchange the picture to something else. Let's see what I can come up with. So that was a good find. And I found this, and this is a hook, and I was looking for hooks. It looks like a bow, as you can see, has a nice color to it, and I just think that's gonna look lovely on the wall. We can hang stuff here or down here.
Hey folks, good to be back. So last time around, Kalle told you that I'm a foodie, which is very true. So in honor of me being a foodie, and it's the cinnamon bun day, which is October 4th, or kanelbullens dag, I will be making cinnamon buns. Okay, so we're gonna try to make some movie magic with this cooking. It won't work because I haven't prepped anything beforehand. I have prepped a couple things. So we're gonna start off with making our dough for the cinnamon buns. And there's a key distinction between American cinnamon buns and Swedish cinnamon buns. Americans you would eat with like a cream cheese frosting on top. Here we don't. We eat them, they're drier in a sense, but they're more pronounced with cinnamon flavor, and they're handheld in another sense. So we're just gonna start off with making the sweet bread dough. So it's just yeast and whole milk. Gonna let that sit for 10 minutes-ish, give or take. Second part is cardamom. This is quintessential Swedish flavor. You see it in Christmas or spiced buns and all that jazz. So we have cardamom, which is going in next, which is like the main flavor in the actual dough, whereas the filling then is the more pronounced cinnamon flavor. And then we move over to butter, lots of it. That's the key ingredient to anything delicious. And then we add some sugar to the mixture. Might look like a lot, that's because it is. And then we will go in with half of the bread flour. And the key here is to not add too much flour at once, because we want the dough to be as moist as possible. And if we add all of the flour at once and like melted butter and all that, you're gonna have to add more flour to get the right consistency. So we're gonna add it bit by bit. The next step is adding salt, because you want to contrast that sweetness, but it also enhances the flavors of all of the other spices. But you don't want to add it too quickly next to the yeast, because it will counteract the yeast when it tries to eat the sugar and make the dough puff up when we put it to rise then. So now I add the sugar after I've added some of the wet ingredients. Okay, now while the dough is mixing and getting ready to develop its gluten and all that pizzazz, I have prepped the filling. This is the only movie magic part of my cooking. It's the filling. So it's normal. I think you would use this in the US as well. But it's butter, brown sugar, and white sugar, and then a bit of salt. And then there's cornstarch in it as well. Cornstarch is there to just make it adhere to the dough better, so you get a nice consistency. And then there's the brown sugars there to get that caramel sense and a bit of almost an umami sense to the flavor of it. So it's not just too sweet. So we have kneaded the dough for about 10 minutes. So what I want to do now is check the gluten. So there's a test that is called the window pane test, which is pretty much you see if the dough can resemble a window pane, which is you stretch it out. So you take a piece like this, and then you try to stretch it out, and then you see if you can see light through it. In our case, the dough stretches and breaks, so then I have to knead it a bit more before it's ready. Now that I've kneaded the dough for a bit, we want to retry that window pane test. So what we'll do is pick up a piece of the dough, stretch it out, and then we can see light coming through, which means that the dough is ready because the gluten has developed. So you get that not spongy, but moist and good consistency in the dough. using a dough scraper or a bench scraper.
Back in Isabella's room, and it's time to open this package. What could it be? Well, it's actually a sitting bench that she can use here by the desk, so she and a friend could sit right next to each other. So I'm gonna, first of all, I'm gonna put this together. It's from IKEA, so yeah, it's in a flat box, but it's in a natural wood, which means that I can paint it, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. And this is the purple that Isabella went for. She wanted it to be pretty bright, so this is as bright as I could go. And I think this will look pretty nice on the bench, so it's time to start painting. Speaking of color choices, it's also time to start painting the walls. And for that we have this lovely pink color that Isabella wanted. She wanted, of course, pink and some purple, and that's what we're doing. I believe this is gonna become a very happy and girly color without being overwhelmingly pink, because that could often happen when painting with pink. But this it's more like a dusty pink, and especially when it dries. I think it's a good choice, and also a very good combination together with the reddish brown. And then we're gonna add the purple on the bench as well. It's gonna look good.
So we finally got the lights up in Isabella's room, which is so nice. It took a while, and I'm happy that Johan was here to help me out with this stuff, because you need to be in 2 different places at once, pulling cables, feeding cables, and whatnot, but we got it done. And we did the same thing that we did in Alfred's room. So we have these double light source fixtures that you can direct onto the wall or down on the carpet or whatever you want to, which is nice. So you can direct some light onto the books, so you can direct it onto the mirror and the wall and whatnot. Looks really good. And then on the other side, on this side, that bed is going away, and we're going to build a similar thing like we did for Alfred, but for Isabella. So there's going to be not a top bunk, but sort of a hideaway space at the top, and then her bed at the bottom. And so I've adjusted the lighting so that thing will sit directly on top of what will be some steps up to the top bunk. She's not going to have a ladder like Alfred does. She's going to have some steps. So hopefully, I haven't built that yet. Hopefully the lights that I've now put into the ceiling will actually match whatever it is we're going to build.
So this is how evening work looks like.
Step into our office.
Yeah, you're a jack of all trades, so of course you're also fantastic in SketchUp.
Taking a sketch into SketchUp. And we're trying to take some of the measurements into that. I've transferred all of the measurements into this corner of her room. Obviously that's not going to be closed off, but there's a bunk behind it. And I've copied the measurements of that bed from Alfred's drawing that we made.
Smart, so you're reusing some parts. So the bench project is done, and I think the color is gonna look really good in Isabella's room. It has some nice storage down here, which is good. This is from IKEA. It's, you know, it serves its purpose for a couple of years, and I think this is gonna be a good space for her and maybe a friend or a baby brother. But I already started another project, and that is the frame project. So I bought this at the flea market, and then I found some other ones. This one and some smaller ones over here, and now it's just to come up with something to put in the frames. And I think I'm gonna go botanical, because we have a lot of these lovely ones that we've used in the study actually, and I think that's gonna look good. And I know that Isabella has also pressed her own leaves now when they are turning red, so that's gonna look good in a frame of this size. So let's do that. The wall is decorated with some frames, with some lovely botanical art. And I know that this room is not it's not the time to start decorating because we're still working on, this little corner. But you know, I just had to do it. Just to give a little hint on how beautiful this room is going to turn out in a couple of weeks. So that's it for today's show, and see you guys next week. Bye bye.